Welcome, I'm David.
I'm Lindsay.
And this is Desmonds
Donders.
Hello, and welcome to this week's Wednesday Waffle. Usual format? Probably. The format will be that I'm going to tell you what's coming up, tell you what we've been up to, and then waffle on about something. This week's subject is why I need a drone, and I'll talk more about that shortly. So, before we start with the what's coming up, here's a what's been. The Monday video viewing figures are not what I expected. Yeah. Before that video, things were looking up, and now they're coming down. That was a joke. And if you've watched Monday's video, you'll know that its title is well, Cluty Well, and then the subtitle of Black Tights and Skimpy Knickers. Yes, and the numbers have been interesting. The comments have been fun to read as well for those that have watched and commented, and no one yet has asked the question. However, moving on from such tawdry subjects. Oh, all right. On Friday this week we have Looking West, and that's where we make the decision whether to carry on west. Is the weather good enough? Will we attempt the Bíleach Bar again? Is the weather too bad for that? Or are we going to go round the long way till we get where we want to go? That will be answered on Friday. On Monday we have a video called Over the Hill, Bíleach Bar. Guess that answers that question as well. Friday's video hasn't got more going for it than that, I do promise. It's a look round a loch of Shulin, and well worth a view. As I say, Mondays is the drive over the pass. Well worth a watch, because at one point we stop for a car coming down the hill, and it shows that the waterfalls flow two directions at the Bíleach Bar, as they flow uphill sometimes. You'll have to watch to see. The Wednesday Waffle follows, and next week I can tell you already what that's going to be. It's going to be a chat really about Applecross and road signage and whatever. But the Applecross Peninsula has at least one person on it who's got a thing about motorhomes. But we'll address that to some extent in next week's Wednesday Waffle. And next Friday we have When is a Pier Not a Pier? And we visit Toscaig Pier. Or rather we don't, because it's not there. And it hasn't been there for a good few years. But it's a lovely spot to walk, lovely spot to fly the drone, and just a lovely spot to be. And it's actually sheltered on all sides except for the south, but there's an island at the entrance to the loch which does help. Anything with the south in it blowing can get a bit hairy there, but it's a great spot. So that's the videos. So what have we been up to? Well, at the weekend Lindsay was working Saturday, so I took advantage and went off for the day, or rather 2 days. Then Lindsay joined me late on Saturday night after she finished work. I went to hide in the trees at Benhagen. I just needed some peace and quiet, away from the world, and to play with the trees. And they must have enjoyed me being there because they were waving like mad. But the weather did calm down and I did manage to fly, take some video, etc. Yes, it was a bit windy. So, we've been mentioning drones, and we've been using a drone for a number of years, he says, getting comfortable. So why do I need a drone? Why do I like a drone is probably more of a question, because does anybody really need one? I like it for the different viewpoint it gives me from places that we visit. For example, Ben Hagen. I can walk among those trees all I like, and I would never know the number of ponds there were about, for example. I could walk up either direction and not know they were there because they're shielded. And, well, one of them would show, but yeah. So it's useful for that. But it also gets me places I couldn't walk to. One, it's across marshland, or there's no footway, or something like that. But with all these things, there are some rules to obey. But they don't deflect from my use in the UK. Now, the rules have changed, but basically the best place to get the rules is a Civil Aviation's own website, and that will direct you to the various websites that are holding the rules. But all camera drones in the UK need to have, not registered because it's not registered as such, but you need to have an operator ID to fly them. Now, whether you need any more than that is subject to negotiation, but if you've got a camera on board, you need to register as an operator of a drone, have a flyer ID. There's a simple exam to take and a more complex exam to take for the various levels, but that's not what this is about. This isn't about sticking to the rules, it's just making people aware that they exist and where to go to get them. There are numerous types of drones, but they break down into two categories, three if you count toy drones. You've got toy drones, which are just that. They're really no more than toys for flying line of sight and around and what have you, local to you. They don't have much range, they don't much have time. They're actually quite fun to fly, and a lot of people get started using those drones. The next type, or another type, is FPV. Now, I'd love to give this a go, but it can be quite expensive. You can get cheap goggles, you can get expensive goggles, you can get cheap drones, you can get expensive drones. It's a matter of how much you want to spend. FPV drones can be basic or as complex as you like, and even as cinematic as the so-called camera drone. The problem with them is you're going to crash. And that is where it gets expensive. Even the normal drones, not very much in the way of money, are going to build up in price when you have to change bits and buy new bits and replace motors and so on and so forth. That leaves the third type that I'm going to talk about, is camera drones. Now, camera drone is your typical drone that flies relatively slowly, relatively sedately, takes video, takes pictures, will have a zoom on it, and the more money you spend, the more features you get on it, seems to be the rule. Now, there are a number of companies, Autel, Parrot, Skydio, DJI come to mind. I'm not going to talk about Skydio, Autel or Parrot because I've never owned one, but I have owned DJI products. The DJI Spark was where I started. Seems such a basic drone, but it could do a fair bit. And I now have a Mavic Air 2. Yes, I'd like a Air 2S. Yes, I'd like a Mavic 3, or even a Mavic 2 Pro or something like that. But I don't need that drone. I use most of the features on the drone I have, so it could be said that I'm pushing it, but I'm not really. It can do a lot more than I do with it. I prefer to fly it than worry about the photography when it's in the air. But you can do whatever you want when it comes to the photography. One thing maybe you should dismiss now. One of the concerns raised about drones with cameras is privacy. Believe me, if we had the kind of camera that the drone in the thumbnail had, or the kind of camera people believe we had, there'd be a lot more drones in the air than there is, because it wouldn't be your drone flyer that flew them. It'd be the kind of people that people think are flying the drones, if you get my meaning. So that's the three different types of drones. I have my DJI Mavic Air 2. I can fly it in 3 modes. I've got the normal mode, which allows me just to potter around, fly around, see what I want, take the photos, take the videos, etc., and gives me 25 to 30 minutes of time, depending on conditions. Now, I don't fly that long. I very rarely fly more than 20 minutes because I like to keep a reserve in the battery. Just in case something happens and I need to get it back, or just in case I'm on the way back and I see something I want to video. And I've got enough battery, then I can go video it and get back, or I can mark where it is and go off again with another battery afterwards. It's just a good idea, a safety point if you like. The thing I've said, and I've said it right at the beginning, is I don't just take video, I don't just take photos, take very few photos in fact. But I just enjoy the flying. Taking it about, we were at Loch Acklety. There's a lot of the footage that was filmed you won't see. Why? Because I was just playing, flying up and down the loch, flying in the trees, just flying. The same with Ben Hagen at the weekend, although you will see some of that because I was, playing around. So to sum it up, I don't need a drone. It is a nice addition to have for me. It's like years ago, an 8mm cine camera was a nice addition for some people to have. What I would say is, don't buy one because you think it would make your YouTube better. It won't. If you're like me, my YouTube's for me. And I get a little kick out of that some people want to watch along with me. So there's no real need for a drone. It's nice to have, and I love flying my drone. And if I crashed and lost it, would I replace it? Probably, if I could get away with it. But somebody else might have a say in that. Anyway, enough about drones. Let's go and see one in action. I'm saying this and I don't know what I've got available to put up, but we shall see. Purely by coincidence, the next footage to pop up for use is from a trip to Ben Hagen some time ago. Not this weekend.
Thank you for watching Desmonds Donders. And remember, please take nothing but memories and leave nothing but tracks. Please subscribe and ring the bell for notifications, and hopefully we'll see you next time.